So the video that I have to do today is actually one of the hardest ones I've had to do. My last one was pretty tough as well. My reasoning for doing this video is because internally, for those of you who may not know me, I've been on YouTube for 11 years. I started in 2008. Back when it was literally you sat with, a crappy camera and a crappy lights, and you sat on your bedroom floor or, in your kitchen, and you just talked about makeup. And that's kind of like where this whole beauty community was kind of based off of, was many of us, not just myself, doing that. And so fast forward to 11 years later, I've been still doing that. And it's been honestly the best years of my life. I have so much positive things to say. And I really do love being on here. I love teaching makeup, teaching fashion. That's my background. That's what I've always loved to do. And so that's why I've been here. And I know you guys only know me through the screen. And so you can think whatever you want of me. And I can't control what everyone has to say of me. I can only control my actions and my thoughts. This video is for me. I have to get a lot of stuff off my chest that I've been feeling for literally 11 years in the community. And I know that I have inserted myself into drama in the last year. My reasoning for that has never been that I'm a dramatic person. I want you guys to stop and think, look over the last 11 years. Not just this past year, look over 11 years. Have I been problematic? Have I been dramatic? Have I said shady things? Any of that stuff. I have been 100% honest with you guys from the beginning. I have not taken sponsored deals that I did not tell you about. If I bought things with my own money or if they were given to me, I always told you guys that, and I stand by that belief. So the truth video that came out last year, it was a breaking point for me because before that we had like Dramageddon 1 or whatever, and I have been frustrated for years before that. I don't know if you guys remember a few years before where I said, hey, I've got to stop YouTube, and I took a really long break, and then I came back, and the only reason I came back was because I honestly missed you guys. I loved talking to you and being part of that. And in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, I still have something positive that can contribute. So that's why I started doing coffee chats. I wanted it to be more about just makeup. I wanted to talk about real issues that we all go through. And I was like, I've got this platform. I hate to just not utilize it and talk about things that really matter to me and hopefully matter to some other people. So that was my only reason for coming back, is I thought I could do something to make a difference. I thought I could still contribute something. And so I missed it. So fast forward to now. Last year, you guys know I did a truth video. I had no idea when I posted that it was going to blow up to the level it did. I knew it was going to get some attention because obviously I titled it My Truth About the Beauty Community. I filmed that video at the end of a day. It was not pre-planned. I just literally at the end of a long filming day, I just sat down. I was like, I've just got to get some stuff on my chest, some things that are bothering me. Because before that, I heard so many people saying, Makeup Geek's putting out garbage and Marlena doesn't care and she's not even trying and this and that. And it was so devastating to hear because I'm like, if you guys only knew what was going on behind the scenes for the last couple of years, and I didn't even bring all that up, but I was like, I do have to speak on the fact that I have seen for years of sponsorships not being disclosed, and there was a huge shift in the influencer thing. And I never once meant to say that influencers are responsible for my business having a rough year, and that takes a lot for me to sit here and be very vulnerable and to even admit that. I could have just said, hey, great, things were great. We had a rough couple of years. That's common with businesses. I was only speaking out, just saying that was one piece of it. It's not. There's many other things that I will talk about at the end of this video to explain to you what all happened with Makeup Geek. Why was there some shifts, some things that happened? I will address all of that. But my point is being, I am truly grateful for influencers. I've been one. I was an influencer first and a CEO second. So my loyalty, even though I know it's hard for you guys to see me as anything right now as a CEO, and that's why I feel like I need to back away and just not even do influencing anymore, is because my loyalty first was influencer because that's where I started 11 years ago and then became a CEO. So I've always tried to be very fair in the middle and balance it between two hats. Here's my influencer hat, here's my CEO hat, here's my product development hat. I try to wear many hats and I try to come from all of the information I know here in the beauty community and behind it by making product and all of that, and try to be fair and stay in the middle because I really do feel like just the whole community, not just the YouTube one, is amazing. There's a lot of pieces about it we don't talk about. Anyways, so since that truth video, I feel like I'm just gonna say it, and I'm sorry to be so blunt. I feel like my honesty and integrity that I valued so much and tried so hard for 11 years to keep with you guys has been dragged to filth, honestly. And I'm sorry to be so blunt about it, but that's how I felt. And I could have come out. I know I did one response video to the YouTube one, but I didn't address every single one. There was many videos that came out after that trying to make it out that I was lying in that video, that I had ulterior motives and all of that. And I could have done separate videos addressing each one, but I was like, you know what, look, if I say something, you guys are gonna think I'm really defensive and that I have something to hide. If I don't say anything, then people are gonna believe what's being said anyway. So I'm stuck in between really two crappy rocks, to be honest. It's like I'm viewed this way if I say something. If I don't, I'm still viewed bad. So it's like I don't know what to do. So I just stayed quiet. I was like, let me just try to move on in a positive way. Let me start this new amazing series, Beauty and the Boss. Let me focus on my coffee chats. Let me work on some charity work with some domestic abuse shelters that I really internally am passionate about. So that's what I did. So this last year, we had more drama come up. You guys know what it is. It's basically Dramageddon 2. And I was like, after Dramageddon 1 and after I spoke out, I really did see some differences. Like, if you guys notice, there's been more people being open about their sponsorships, and I felt like we started to shift and go in a different direction. And that's all I wanted, you guys. I wanted this beauty community ship. The last several years, I've seen it. I've seen it going in a bad direction, I felt. I saw like more drama taking off, that people weren't as interested in learning about makeup and other things behind the scenes. And it started to bother me a little bit. I stayed quiet. And then finally I just broke, honestly. I just like, look, enough's enough. I got to say something. And all I wanted was for that ship, maybe if I say something or do something, we can get that ship, instead of headed to like the Bermuda Triangle, let's reroute it. Let's go to Florida. Let's go hang out with Kathleen and have margaritas on the beach and everyone's happy. That's what I wanted. And I swear, you guys, that was what my motive was. I didn't mean any ill will. And I know so many influencers were feeling attacked because everyone's got their torches out, their pitchforks, and they're heading over like, who's charging $60K? And I did not, that wasn't what I thought would happen, honestly. And I felt so crappy myself for that, because I was like, that's not the point. I was just trying to bring up how I felt about what was going on. Anyways, so I do want to start the video with some positive things, and then I do have my my receipts to show you guys, and I want to try to be just very fair, very factual, give you the whole rounded story, because I feel like I deserve to have, thank you, lady, I feel like I have my voice that needs to be heard as well. I don't ever want to play victim. I don't want you guys to pity me. I don't feel that way. I just want to be heard. I want you to hear my side of the story. So let's start with some positive things and some shout outs to some influencers. And meanwhile, I want to show you what I have done behind the scenes that I don't talk about. And I hate that it's come to this, because I don't want to be like, oh, good job, Marlena, you did this. That's why I never pointed out. This was years ago that I did all this stuff. So anyways, I started YouTube in 2008. And right after that, I know a couple for sure. It was like Nikki Tutorials and Wayne Goss had started right after me. And they had emailed me personally. This is before I started Makeup Geek or anything. I was just an influencer just starting out. They emailed asking me, what lights do you use? How do you get started? Can you give me some tips? And I responded and I helped them. And I know Nikki had talked about that. If I find her video, I'll link to it below. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, I would love to help, because it was so cool to see other people were trying to do the same things that I were. And I remember Nikki specifically, she was 14 at the time. She was such a cute, like, I don't want to call her little kid, but she was. And just like me, we both had like crappy lighting and like, crappy camera quality, but she was talented. And I knew it. As soon as I watched her videos, like, wow, this girl, she is going to be like the next Pat McGrath. Like, she is crazy talented. And that's what I envisioned seeing her as. And she has grown so much. And I hope Nikki watches this. And I hope you understand that I am so freaking happy for you that you've blown up so much. You're still just as talented, even more talented than you were before. And so I want to thank you for you using my brand. Over the years, I've always been happy for that. And it's been cool to see your transitions from being 14-year-olds to now. So anyways, so yeah, that's what I did for that. Same thing with Wayne Goss, total sweetie pie. He's such just a good person behind the scenes. So then as time went on, I had met other influencers. So Manny MUA, for example, when I first met Manny, he didn't even have, I think he had like 8,000 followers. So he was still really small. And I think I found him through Twitter or something. And I was like, oh, he's really charismatic. And so I tweeted him and I was like, oh, I'd love to meet you if you're in town, because I knew he was in San Diego. So we met. There's a picture of us. Long story short, he was talking about his family, how much he loved him, and he just seemed like this really sweet guy that really was, he just wanted to, he just loved his family and just wanted to get in the beauty community. So I did get him his first lights, and there was no ill motive with that. I wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna get you a light, use a Makeup Geek product. That's not how it went down at all. I truly, at that time, there was hardly any boys in makeup. There was like a couple. I think Jeffrey was doing it. I think Patrick had just started, but I hadn't found him yet. So anyways, got Manny's lights. He actually asked me for advice. He said, I have an opportunity to freelance for Mac, but if I do that at that time, they wouldn't allow me to be on YouTube, but I really want to do YouTube. And I told him, and I was like, honestly, Manny, I think you have what it takes. I see you have like very charismatic personality. It's cool that you're Latina. That's missing in the beauty market. And so that's all. I wanted to see him succeed because I knew that was missing in the beauty community. And then through him, I met Patrick Starr. And what happened is I was actually flying to Florida to see Jacqueline because we were friends, and I went to go see her, and I was like, Manny, I think Manny was always saying I love Jacqueline too. So I had texted Jacqueline saying, I would love for you to meet Manny. I think you guys would really hit it off. Is it okay if I bring him? So we both went to Florida. At that time, Patrick was living in Florida, and Manny was like, hey, I've got this friend of mine. He's in the beauty industry too. He's a boy in makeup. Can I bring him? I was like, oh, cool. I'd love to meet him. So I have a fun story to tell you about Patrick, and I hope you guys don't mind me sharing this, but I want you guys to see the positive things of some influencers so you know that I'm not bashing influencers at all. That's where I started. Anyways, so Patrick and I, after we were all hanging out, it was Jacqueline, me, Patrick, and Manny all hanging out in Florida. Me and Patrick went off to get pizza to come back, and we connected over our music backgrounds. Patrick sings, I play the piano, and I remember this story, and it makes me tear up because it's my favorite story about influencers. So we sat in his car, and it was just like me. He had crap all over his car, and it was just like, reminded me of me. He was just so real. He was so real. So we sit in his car with his pizza. We must have sat in there for like an hour just talking about music. And he was telling me that he, as a Filipino man wearing makeup, that he just felt like he just had a rough time getting in the industry. And I felt him on such a deep level. And I was like, this guy, he's so genuine. I really hope he makes it. So I've always remembered that. And over the years, Patrick has been the one who has always like called me to check on me, ask if I was okay. When I did my truth video, and I was struggling after that because I didn't think it would blow up like that. And I was getting a lot of people saying they loved the video, a lot of people saying they hated it. And so Patrick was one that actually called me the day after and was like, I'm just checking on you. How are you doing? And I've always remembered that. And he has been such a positive person in the community. So I wanted to tell you guys that because he's a real one. The other one I wanted to mention was Kathleen. We met Kathleen. It was actually my team had found her, and she had she had some subscribers, but she was still pretty small, and my team like found her and they were obsessed with her videos. And I went to work one day and they were like, you've got to see this girl. Her name's Kathleen. She's so fun. She's so sweet. And so I watched her. I was like, oh my gosh, she is. So we had set her up with products as well. And during all this time, I want to mention to you guys that we have had an affiliate program in place. At that time, the only one that ever had it in the beauty community was Sigma. And my reasoning for having the affiliate program was because I knew with me starting out years ago that I did not make any money other than just my YouTube earnings. So I was talking about big brands makeup like MAC and NARS and Urban Decay and NARS and all that. But since the beauty community was so new, there was no commissions in place. There was no sponsored posts. There was none of that. We just did it, starting out. We just loved makeup, want to talk about it. So I'm sorry, I'm going to take a little side thing and I'm going to come back to it because I have a lot for you guys to know. Before I started Makeup Geek as a company, I had been approached by a couple big brands, and I'm not going to say their names for legalities of it, but they were big brands, and they had said, can you do some videos for it, we'll send you some product. And I was like, cool. And I was honest, and I told you guys, look, these products were sent to me. I got no payment whatsoever. It was a lot of work because they had a lot of specifics that they wanted in the video, so I did it. And after that, I was like, look, this is a lot of work. I appreciate the free product, but I have to get paid because I spent literally like 2 days doing this video to get all the specifics that you wanted and to do a tutorial and show it and do a review and all of that stuff. So back then, I was very verbal with some larger companies to say influencers have to be paid, at least something, give me a commission or something, and I never heard back from those companies. So when I started mine, I was like, okay, Sigma's got this cool commission program. I want to do that too because truly, I knew what it was like to not make money, and I never once said or thought that influencers shouldn't be paid. You should be paid. So we set up an affiliate program. So anyone who got our products were like, in my mind, it was like, thank you so much for bringing attention to my line. I want you to have commission because I think you do deserve to be paid. So if I'm making money, you should be making too. And that was it. That's where we started. And that's what we continued for years to come. So anyways, back to Kathleen. So we connected with her. She was such a sweetie pie. I was a fan of her videos, had watched them for a while. She became part of our affiliate program. I gave her my number, as I did with many influencers, big and small. And to this day, I still do that. I still give my personal cell phone number to influencers that I feel like, and I just laid out there, I'm like, no strings attached. Anything you need, I'm not pressuring you to use my product. If you need a space to rent out, if you need help with whatever, I have resources of people. If I don't know the answer, I can at least connect you with them. So Kathleen, I hope you don't mind me sharing this. It's actually a good story because you guys know I love her. So she had an issue years ago, it was I think a few years ago, and she had my number, and someone had sent her a threatening letter to her home. She texted me, was kind of freaking out, and I was stressing out because I'm like, out of all the people, like Kathleen, who would send a threatening letter to Kathleen? She's like an angel from heaven sent down into the beauty community. I was pissed. So she called me and I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. And I was trying to give her advice on what I could. And the next day I got on the phone with my team and I was like, this stays with us. This is what's happened with Kathleen. She's been a huge supporter of Makeup Geek brand. What can we do? Can we get some lawyers involved? Can we try to look up? What can we do to try to keep her safe? I was trying to get input from others more knowledgeable than me on what to do in that situation to try to help. Unfortunately, we couldn't because I didn't have lawyers in the same state as her. Long story short, I did try. And so when I give my numbers to people and they need help, I meant it. Like, if you need something, let me know. I'll do what I can. Long story short, Kathleen has been so genuine. She's so real. I love her to pieces. She's been authentic. I have nothing but good things to say to her, and she's been so kind to me. She has done so much for Makeup Geek as well by using our products, and so I will always have gratitude for her and so many others. So I just wanted to put that out there. Then the other one, I know there's been so many that have been so kind to me, like Amanda Ensing. She's been one that, like, I have a quick story to tell about her too. We connected because we sent her product when she was super small, and I don't even remember how we connected personally. I think I gave her my number, and then when I went to LA and she had moved there, we met for dinner or whatever. So we became friends after that as well. She's always the one, like, when I had issues, like I didn't know how to use Facetune, like I got kind of technologically behind on stuff. Anyways, Amanda was always the one, like, let me help you, Marlena. Like, we just had that kind of friendship going on, and she's been supporter of the Makeup Geek brand too. And so I honestly, I want to tell these stories so you guys know that there's so many good things, and I'm truly grateful for everyone, even ones I'm not mentioning now, that have supported the Makeup Geek brand. I owe it to you so much, and Makeup Geek would not be where it is today if it wasn't for influencers. So I want to do a very public, I want you guys to see my face, read my body language. I am so grateful, and I always have been, and I always will be. So thank you for that. Then the last one is Jacqueline. So Jacqueline and I met, she had, I don't remember, it was like in 2012, I think. I don't remember the exact year. it was actually my former COO had found her because she bought our product and started using them. And it was back when she was like sitting in her kitchen, and she had just started out. And so he actually connected to her because we had, at that time, we had just launched Makeup Geek, and she had used the products in her video that she had bought. And we saw like a spike in some of these sales. We're like, okay, where is this coming from? Because we were like virtually like, we're literally at the bottom, like we just started. And so we're like, oh, we saw an increase, and we told her, we're like, thank you so much for that. Would it be okay if we sent you some shadows as well? And so we did. And then at this time was when we knew that we've got to do something if people are talking about our products to like make sure they're making some sort of money off of this. So she was actually our first one that had tested out our affiliate program, because we're like trying to figure it out, like how does this work? What kind of software do we need? And so we asked her, would you mind being the first one to try this out? And she was so helpful, gave us feedback and everything. And so we kind of formed a relationship there. And to this day, she has been the number one person who has like pretty much built Makeup Geek up to that reputation because she had used them so much. And so I owe her the hugest thanks for that. I've always said, like, I will never deny that you did so much to help Makeup Geek grow, and I'm so grateful for that. So with that in mind, she had told me in 2013 that she wanted to start her own line. And so she was asking me for advice on that. So I was helping her to find like resources in that. And that's where I have some receipts, because I know you guys feel that I have some sort of, hatred towards Jacqueline over the things that have happened in the last couple years. And I will show you that no, I don't. But anyways, it started back in 2014 when I was trying to help her start her line. And even my team were like, okay, why are you like, that she's like, our number one supporter for Makeup Geek. She starts her line, she probably won't talk about Makeup Geek anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, it is what it is. But in my mind, I was like, I owe this to her because she has done so much to help us grow. And I truly believed in her because I saw how good she was with her makeup skills. She was so dynamic. She seemed passionate about it. And so I truly did want to help. There was no alternative motives. There was nothing for me to gain from it, because it is true. When she launches her own line, she's going to use that and not Makeup Geek, but that is part of what it is. I don't, there's room for everyone. So I want to put that out there. So September 7th, 2014. Hi, sweetie. I know it's not a professional email response. I don't use that anymore, but there was a friendship thing there. So this is back in 2014. I figured I'd email everything so I don't forget all the details. I hope you're doing great and are coming along with your makeup line. It's a lot of work, but if it's something you're passionate about, it'll do great. And then I go into the palette that we were starting to work on. We have to strategize really well how many eyeshadows and price point, so that you get enough to make it worth your while, yet keeping the price down enough not to scare off buyers. By that meaning, like making sure that there's enough money to where you're being profitable. Makeup Geek is able to make money as well, but not getting it so high to where people are like, look, that's out of my price range, I can't afford it. It's a very tricky balance, and that's what I said. Said we'll crunch some numbers, see what the best approach is, and then went into all of that. So that was 2014. So we started doing the collaboration. Meanwhile, during this time, I was helping her set up vendors for her own line because I knew how overwhelming it was, and it's very intimidating to figure out where to start out. Again, I'm not saying this because I want credit at all. I'm just saying this is what happened. Email on August 24th, 2015. This was to a vendor of mine. So what I did is I personally reached out to manufacturers I was already working with and saying, hey, is it okay? I have another influencer wants to start a line. Can I connect you to, or can I meet? August 24th, 2015. Hi, so-and-so, that person's name. I was wondering if your team was available on September 7th and 8th to visit. I know Jacqueline was wanting to visit as well, and we would probably come at the same time. If that is okay with you, let me know if this works, and I'll book some tickets. So what I was planning on doing, I was talking to Jacqueline, say, I've got this lab. If you want to go, I'm going to go and work on my projects. If you need some help, talk to them. That same lab was one after around this time, so Jacqueline, Manny, Linda, and myself had all done a trip to Napa. And the purpose of this is because we both had all of our collaborations going at the same time. I was like, okay, let's meet at a central spot. Let's work on our collaborations. Let's still have fun while we get to do this and roll with it. So after that trip, I had this same vendor that was in San Francisco by chance. I was driving Jacqueline from Napa to San Francisco, get on a flight to go back home. During that time, I called this rep and I was like, look, Jacqueline's here. I would love for her to see your products. Can you bring some lipsticks? Because I knew she was working on those at that time. So he did. He brought some great lipsticks, moved on for that. So continued over the time to help with her makeup line. February 6, 2015, this was before this, Jacqueline and her mom were asking us about fulfillment, because that's another huge piece you have to worry about with starting a makeup line. It's not just making product. How are you going to get this product in the hands of other people? That was one thing that Makeup Geek always had really solid, was our distribution assembly line and all of that. It's still to this day, we have our own warehouse in Michigan. It's owned outright. My team there has done this for years. They know how to get product out. And I was like, if you need help with that piece, let me get you in touch with my team, see what we can do. So I did. I prepped them. My team went through. They took measurements, tried to figure out logistics, because it's a lot. How do you charge someone else, to do distribution? Because we have to make sure that my team is paid. What is a fair price so everyone feels happy? So it was a lot of work to do that. So we had a meeting with them via video conferencing, and then had an email on February 6, 2015. Hi, Jacqueline and Robin. It was so great talking with you today. This is from my COO. Feel free to shoot us a note with questions or concerns, and we'll do our best to help you out. That was regarding the fulfillment. In the meantime, here is some contact info for you. So we gave the block that I have blocked out was my internal team's emails and phone numbers to call. And then also we gave tips on cardboard and outer packaging. Here's a vendor we work with that has been reputable. If you need that, there you go. Another lab one was September 2nd, 2015. So this was going on this whole time that she was trying to find the labs, try to work on the development and stuff. Hi, sweetie. Again, I know it's not professional. Here is the info for so-and-so, manufacturer. The contact will be name at this email. Let her know Marlena from Makeup Geek referred you. Here's what I feel the best things they have are, and I listed it: powder products, lip glosses, not as good with lipsticks, but not bad though, because I knew that's what she was working on. They have a huge lab, but production time is very long, about 9 months at least to get a product launched. Make sure you start the process early because they take longer than smaller labs. So just for you guys to know from a fulfillment standpoint, general manufacturing time from start to finish is minimum 9 months. You could possibly do it sooner if you really hustle, maybe if it's a smaller lab and their lead times are not as much, but you pretty much have to get in line. These labs do production for many different companies, and especially if it's a larger lab, it's going to take a bit longer because they have production for massive companies that can take weeks at a time to finish up. So then when it's your slot, it's just a very big process, many steps along the way. It's very complicated, and so it takes time to do that. So that was what I was mentioning to her. This is your timeline for that. Going back to, that was September 2nd, 2015. Going back to the collaboration that we were working on, September 29th. Hi, Jacqueline and Robin. This is from my COO. I hope your week is off to a great start. These are things to go over with your palette. Marlena mentioned that you were concerned that you should have more custom shades in your palette, because the palette we were going to do is in this palette. This is the one you guys have seen for a long time. I still have a lot of these in my house, my warehouse, empty. They last a long time because it's cardboard. I have a story about this as well. So that was part of the palette. We have already placed a full 100,000 unit order for the shades we settled on after the last shade changes. We need to secure the purchase orders on those to meet the timeline. So basically what was happening is she had other collaborations she was doing that year. She had blown up very quickly, and so of course a lot of people want to work with her, and we were one of them. And so we were trying to find a time that worked because her other collaborations were getting pushed back, because it happens a lot behind the scenes. Things get pushed out, and you can never have a guaranteed date because so many things can happen wrong in any one step along the million of them that it takes to launch a line. So we were just going back and forth. I won't share all the emails because it's a lot of just trying to make this thing work. And then there was that email. So then February 4th, 2016, so this is months later, we had ordered the shades by this point. We have the agreement. Hi again, here's attached the agreement with the revised timelines because we were trying to make whatever time that we could work that worked for her. In order to secure the full 100,000 pieces of all the standard shades, I need to get a signed copy of the contract. I have about an extra 50,000 or so of some shades, but I don't want to overextend my inventory, so forth, saying that we've got to get this going, get a contract going. Next one, February 13th, a week later. It's still going back with what timeline is going to work. April launch probably isn't going to work for me because all the hype for my other collaboration starts May 20th. I want to give Makeup Geek a full 2 months of hype before it gets burned out by this collaboration. The year's overwhelming, so forth, so forth. My other collaboration palette has been pushed back to August, and then and delays, and then my lipsticks are going to be right after the holidays. This is 2016, so we need to find a time to slip our palette in. Long story short, with all of those emails, we were trying to make it work. I know that those stupid emails got leaked in the first place, and that's the only reason why I'm bringing up these emails is because all of you guys know from the leaked emails that the collaboration between Jacqueline and I didn't go through and we lost a lot of money. We did. We lost a lot of money. The whole story was is we couldn't find a timeline to work. I didn't have a contract signed. It was my fault. I take full blame for that. The reason I didn't was because there was a friendship there and because there was no indication along the way that this wouldn't happen. I knew the dates were going to be pushed around. In the end, I was the one that pulled that stopped the collaboration, not Jacqueline. The reason why was because we already ordered the product. It was in our warehouse for 5 months at this point, and I was afraid that these were going to expire and go bad, and I can't have non-fresh product being sold. So I was like, okay, we have to make this happen soon, or I need to find a plan B to get these going out. So we just decided like this isn't going to work. Maybe we could do something later on. And so we ended up selling the singles, like Tan Lines is one of them. I forget the other names, but basically we took the palette shades from this, broke them into singles and sold them that way to try to recoup the investment we had already put in. The palettes, however, the empty ones that you still see, and I know you guys are tired of seeing these, was from that. And so we've tried to do the best we could to take the inventory of these. So we put in the nude palette in here. We've done many other ones. And I know when you guys see this, you're like, I'm tired of seeing these. I am too. I'm right there with you guys, and I'm sorry. And for me, it was like a decision, like we still have these, we're still gonna try to keep in the nude going, because if I still have 34,000 of these left, despite all the stuff that we've done with them, for one, it's a financial hit because it costs, I'm gonna lay out the costs out there. It's $3 a piece for these palettes alone, not the product inside, just the palette. They're sturdy cardboard, like they're still really good quality. Like they're thick, they have the great mirror, so they're not exactly cheap. And you guys do the math, that's how much money we would lose, and plus the environmental factor. It's like I don't want to have a big huge dumpster truck come and I'm literally dumping 30,000 plus of these things that have to get destroyed somehow. So it's an environmental thing, it's a financial thing. Anyways, we'll talk more on that in a second. So with all of that being said, I have been very vocal on some things with especially we're going to call it Lipstick Gate. The collaboration, as you guys can see from this timeline, was ended. It didn't happen in 2016. We're in 2019. That's 3 years later. If I had some ill will or animosity, and if I was the one that decided to not do the collaboration, if I had like this anger ever, why wouldn't I have said 3 years ago and not now, like Jacqueline did me dirty and this and that? I never did. I never once spoke on that. And if those emails didn't come out, you guys wouldn't have even known what had really happened. So because of that, there's this overall feeling that you guys think that I'm speaking up on certain issues right now, thinking that I have some sort of hatred towards Jacqueline. I don't. I never did. What I do have a problem with, however, is dishonesty. And I have felt over the last few projects that she's done, there wasn't full transparency on some things. And I did text her on my phone personally, privately, the end of last year to say, look, because when she saw that I posted the truth video, I could tell she was upset from that. I was like, that video was not even aimed at you. You were not one that has like tried to take, do sponsorships. And even if you did, like whatever, it's not about that. It's not directed at you at all. And so we had talked back and forth and kind of had a heated discussion. She had points that were valid. I had points that were valid. And I said, look, I don't agree with some of the things that have been said about like collaborations and the timing of things. I know in my experience of production that having a new batch of stuff shipped from a completely different country in 3 weeks is logistically and physically impossible. So I shared my concerns. I'm like, if there's some other truth that's going on behind the scenes, that maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I was vocal with that with her in person. So after all of that, we haven't been close since the collaboration. I could tell that there was some there was no hatred. Like, we were never rude or mean to each other. We still kept in touch, not very often. I will say this, I was a bit personally hurt from not, once I was mentoring her, it just kind of stopped. And I will admit that I was hurt from that on a personal level, because I was like, it felt to me, this is my personal opinion, it felt as if we were friends when I was able to help her with that. And when she maybe didn't need the information, or maybe she found someone else to mentor her, that I was kind of kicked to the curb. I hope I'm wrong with that, but that's my personal issue to deal with. I was upset about that. I'm not upset about that anymore now. It's years. I've let that go, whatever. And I've still been positive with Jacqueline. Even the end of last year, she did a really cool charity thing where she gave a ton of presents and gifts to single moms out there. And I texted her, I screenshot the picture of her post, and I was like, even after we had the heated discussion with me not agreeing with the past issues she had with her collaborations, I still was like, look, this is really cool. And this is exactly what I said. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up because I wanna make sure I'm reading exactly for you guys. I said this: incredible and inspiring. And she said, thank you, Marlena. And I said, hoping other influencers follow suit, myself included. I was inspired by that. Great idea. She put a heart with it. That was the last conversation we had via text. Fast forward to now with Lipstick Gate. Me being vocal. Okay, so her lipsticks launched, and I was really excited about them because I knew for the longest time she was going to have a nude set of lipsticks. I'm like, cool, would love some nude lipsticks myself. I didn't purchase them in the beginning because I knew they were going to sell out, and I was like, I don't have time to sit on the site and try to stock it. I know she'll restock, I'll get some later. So when the lipsticks launched, it started coming out with people saying that the lipsticks were scratchy or whatever. And my first thought was, okay, people are being dramatic or whatever. They're just trying to find something to tear apart, whatever. Stayed low, didn't say anything. And then it was one after another of people showing things that were going wrong with the lipsticks. And for me, this is what made me speak up, was when I think it was Brianna. And I've met Brianna, we've contacted her, we've stayed in touch with her over the years, and she's truly genuine. She's a good person. I don't feel her to be dishonest or anything. She pulled the lipstick out, the long hair out of the lipstick, and I was like, that's not as good. Okay. Over time, after I started seeing shards of plastic, the long hairs, the black hairs, I saw Christy do her microscope thing, then I'm like, okay, this is now not just a fluke thing, this is contamination. Whether it's a dangerous one or not, things being embedded in lipsticks, with all of those things, it's not just one thing, that is contamination. That's just factual of what it is. And so that's when I knew at this point, the lab that I truly believe did this. And that's why I got so upset. Okay, so on June 6th, 2016, it was a Monday. I know it because I have it on my calendar. I have saved all of my appointments where I go. I was at this lab working on my concealers that I never launched, and I will show you pictures of them. These are my concealers. They had shards of plastic in them. They had fingerprints. They had hairs in them. They had black specks in them. Does that sound familiar? These were concealers that I had with this lab that I was at on June 6, 2016. Working on them. Once we got full production, I never launched them. I never really spoke on why, and it was devastating for me because I still have my prototype one right here. This is not the production one, so it's not super funky. This was a hand pressed one in the lab. It looks good from here. I'd been using it and everything like that. So this lab that I was at, June 6, 2016, I saw Jacqueline there. And I had texted her. I found out that she was going to be in the same city this lab was, and I texted her. This is after our collaboration, everything, I was like, hey, I saw you're going into town. I would love to just meet you for coffee. And she responded she didn't have time. She was busy. I'm like, okay. So then I'm sitting in my lab, and I'm down in my lab rep's office, which is kind of weird because usually I'm in the conference room. And so I was like, this is kind of odd. And my lab rep was kind of fumbling around, trying to tell me oh, we didn't have this date scheduled. I was like, no, it's on the calendar right here. And my team is coming with me. So it was me, myself, and 2 other of my staff members were there. So we're sitting there working on product. One of my staff members go to the bathroom, comes back and was like, Jacqueline's here. And I was like, okay, oh, that's okay. Well, Jacqueline's here. Okay. And I didn't go down because she was in the conference room with another, another person. And my lab rep, as soon as she heard that, my staff member came in and said, Jacqueline's here. This is unprofessional for the lab rep's part. It was like, oh yeah, we're working on Jacqueline's lipsticks. I was like, okay, like in my mind, the red flag, I'm like, that's a huge protocol no. Like no lab should ever talk about whose products they make or any of that. And so I was like, okay, let it slide from there. Fast forward to now, so after I got my concealers that had all of these issues with them, I had let Jacqueline know. I was like, look, I've had issues with these concealers. I know you were at this lab or whatever, or if, I don't know who's doing your lipsticks, honestly, but don't work with this lab because I had a really shitty problem with them. It is well known, this is why I'm so vocal, is because it is well known now behind the scenes of the beauty community with many manufacturers, with other CEOs, with other labs. The whole industry behind the scenes now knows that this one specific lab has had an issue multiple times with multiple peoples with producing, I'm just going to say it, shitty product. And so, it's no surprise there. So when I saw these lipsticks come out, I cannot say for sure if these lipsticks are made at that same lab. I'm not there on the production line to see it physically. I'm just saying that if I see you at this lab and then I see that these products are here, I told you, like I gave you recommendations for other labs to work with. After that, it was like, I didn't have anything else to say. I figured she's got it on her own. My problem with the whole situation wasn't even the lipsticks having issues. It happens. The lab should be the one that held responsible. They're the ones that put out shitty product if it is contamination and all of that. Like, it's not okay. How this lab is still in business, I don't know. I can't say the name of it because of legalities, and I'm not gonna, this isn't like a drama thing. I'm just stating the truth that it is well known that this lab has produced garbage. And so, that's why I was so vocal, you guys. It was no hatred for Jacqueline. I am genuinely concerned about the safety of people using these. Whether it has people are making assumptions that it's mold, it's fungus. I don't know. I can't say. I'm not a chemist and we have to wait until they're tested. But however, even if there's a slight chance that there's something in here that could be a risk to anyone, why not just halt it? Why not just put a statement saying, don't use these, let's, wait to test them or whatever. But it was silence. So in this mind, now I'm getting upset because I'm like, okay, I'm truly concerned. This is my community too. And yes, I know I'm inserting myself into drama or whatever, but it was never some sort of hatred to her because we've been cool for many years. I have a problem with how the situation was handled because it affects the people using them, especially those with compromised immune systems, those who are pregnant, the elderly, because just God forbid, I'm not saying it's for certain, but if it has something that can make people sick, if it can, we don't know yet, it's not good. So just make a statement or recall it. That's what insurance is for. For us with our concealers, I didn't launch them. It cost us a lot of money. We lost our shirt on that stuff, but we did recover it some by fortunately having insurance for things like this. If you have product you can't sell, ultimately it's the lab's responsibility, and they usually take care of issues with that. But with this one, so it was such a battle to try to get this taken care of. We had insurance take care of it. That's what it's there for. So anyways, I was vocal because I'm truly, truly concerned. And then when the statement came out about the white gloves, then I was like, look, I've been on producing makeup for many years. I've never once, and I personally go in these labs myself. The product development that I do for Makeup Geek, I work on them myself. I had a very brief time where I had a product developer work on some products, but in the end, I was like, I know what I want for my company, and so I've been the one at the labs working on products. So I know, I've been in there, I view it, and I definitely make sure that any lab we work with that I've seen how clean it is, how is the customer service and all that, just to check. Anyways, never seen white gloves unless they're putting the caps on. So if you have a shiny tube, you have a white glove, then yes. But on the actual production floor, it just didn't make sense to me. So that's why I started being more vocal, because if the general audience doesn't have the experience behind the scenes of producing makeup, but I do, I'm going to be vocal about it. It's not coming from a vicious place. It's coming from genuine concern. I know, I feel like I'm rambling now, but I just have to get this off my chest, you guys. I am the type of person that will be honest even if it hurts. If my friends, like my friends and my family know this, that I will ride or die for them. I will be the first one to tell them that they look beautiful, that they, are doing a great job and things. And I mean it. But on the same term, if my cousin comes up to me and was like, look, Marlena, does my poo stink? I'm gonna be like, girl, your poo stinks. I'm sorry, but it's okay. We got Glade, we got matches, we got plugins. It's okay. I still love you. I think your hair smells great, but your poo, it doesn't smell like roses. I'm sorry. That's the person I am. It doesn't mean that I'm hateful towards that person. So for me, speaking out, it's coming from a place of, look, I don't believe the white glove story. And then after that was kind of debunked, then it found out later a statement that it was White Claws cleaning out the vats and all of that stuff. It was 0.01% of people were unhappy. It was just things that were not lining up. And that's when I became really vocal, because I feel like the beauty community and the general audience as a whole, I really do care about, that deserve to know, like, this is standard production times. These are things that usually happen when you're making makeup. This stuff isn't adding up, and that's all. So I wanted to get that off my chest, you guys, because I'm tired of my motive being made out, well, just because a collaboration didn't work, Marlena just was waiting for Jaclyn. I'm like, I'm going to say this, you guys. I've had so much personal stuff going on in the last 2 years that I did my domestic abuse video and all that. I didn't talk about because I didn't want everyone to think I'm trying to play a victim or whatever, but I have gone through absolute garbage in the last 2 years. Like, garbage, you guys. It's been the roughest 2 years of my life, in my personal life. All of that, if I'm dealing with that, I'm just going to say it. That stuff to me is way more important and deserves my time than some like BS going on in the community. I'm sorry. I'm not sitting in the corner for 3 or 4 years after collaboration, like, can't wait for, her to like mess up and I'm going to pounce on it. Like, who does that? That's not who I am. I've got other bigger things in my life that I have to deal with. I don't even have time for that. And on the other thing too, I've learned since I've gotten older, you guys, I'm almost 40, and it's a very fine line with being hurt. Have I been hurt with stuff with Jaclyn? Yes. Have I been angry? Yes. I've had all these emotions, but having those emotions and having a right to feel them as a human being, but not crossing that very fine line. It is tricky. Over time, I have learned this. I can't let that emotion cross over into a side of hate and vengeance. Because at the end of the day, who is that going to affect? It's not going to affect the person I'm mad at. It's going to affect me, and that's not healthy. So yes, I can have these emotions, but not let it turn into, I'm going to get even with this person. Like, at the end of the day, even if I got even, I still not going to feel good. So I had to get that off my chest. I wish Jaclyn so much success. I hope her line takes off. That's why I helped her in the beginning. There was no motive with anything. I just want to see someone succeed, and she has done so much for my company, and that's why I've gotten emotional, is because on this one side, I'm like, dang, if it wasn't for Jaclyn, I really don't think Makeup Geek would be as noticeable as it is today. I owe her a huge thanks, a huge gratitude for that. So it is hard to speak up. On the other hand, I'm like, look, I care about this community, and I'm really concerned about people using these. I hope I'm wrong, but just in case, like, I've seen these exact symptoms before. I've seen in my hand, like, hairs and stuff coming out of here, and I wouldn't sell this because I'm concerned. Anyways, I'm going to move forward with that. There's a couple other things that I want to address that aren't as fun, and then I want to end the video on a really positive one. I'm sorry this video is so long, you guys, but I got to get this off my chest. Okay, so last year, you guys know that I did a documentary with Netflix. I'm not going to give more details because honestly, I know Netflix is kind of like, after I did that little tweet, I'll explain the whole story. I got approached, I think it was August of last year, August or September actually. So last year I was at my lowest point. The last couple years, horrible. When Netflix contacted me about this documentary, it was like the one beam of light that was going on in the midst of just pure garbage that I was dealing on behind the scenes. And so I was so excited. It was like this great opportunity and was thrilled. Went to LA to film with them. And so I asked the team, I was like, can I just post a little teaser just saying, hey, this is coming, just to get people excited? And they're like, yes, just, don't give any super details. So I did. Then comes completely out of the blue from James Charles. I'm so upset. He was basically saying, like, I've been working on a documentary for a while, which I had no idea of. I follow James, but not so closely. I don't know what all he's working on. So he responds to Netflix and tags them and says, let's make a documentary on behind the scenes and why the community is plummeting. I already have a full outline that highlights the faults on all sides in a non-biased way and a platform of millions that want to know more. Email me. So this is going on while I'm still filming with this team. And it starts blowing up. And now that I'm with the film crew, it blows up so much to the point that the executives of Netflix are now calling the film crew that I'm with, like, delete the tweet, take it down. I'm mortified at this point. I'm so embarrassed because I had no idea that this was gonna, like, there was gonna be some sort of, like, blowing it up, like, I was gonna do this documentary, blah, blah, blah. And so, to be honest, I was embarrassed. I was personally hurt. The last part of the filming, I haven't even seen the documentary yet. I know it's going to be amazing. They always kick it out of the park. I'm so excited. It's going to be a kick-ass documentary, I'm sure. But the last half of the video that I was getting ready to film, I was getting emotional because I'm like, this is supposed to be such a great day for me. It's like a positive light with the shit that I've gone through before this. I was devastated. And so I still took the time to respond. I tried to be respectful in the beginning. I said, I tagged James. I said, I think it would be great to hear about your input from an influencer side as well. I did not approach them. They approached me and wanted to understand everything about the beauty industry. It wasn't about influencer thing. And I know where this was coming from because James has been upset about that truth video. I'm going to say it. Hit dogs holler the loudest. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm going to be bold and say that because I never once said any names in that truth video for a specific reason. Talk about that in a second too. So it started going back and forth. I'm going to put up here the tweets that I said to James. I said my point is not to belittle him, but to state that influencers are just one aspect of the beauty industry. I'm coming from it, from my experience behind the scenes as well in front of the scenes. So anyways, that kind of all blew up. To this day, I'm going to be honest, I'm still pissed about that. And because that day was ruined for me. And I think what upset me the most was you calling me that woman. I'm going to say this bluntly. I apologize if it offends anyone, but I'm going to be blunt. I would never, even if it wasn't addressed at me, if it was addressed at someone and it was as public with the largest audience that you said, called anyone of any age that woman, I'd be pissed. That is so disrespectful, and especially coming to someone as myself who's been doing your job before you did, myself and many others like Leisha, X Sparkage, Pixie Woo, Wayne Goss, Nikki Tutorials, Candy Johnson, It's Judy Time. There's so many people that had done all of this stuff for free, did it out of the passion of it, worked hard to try to make this beauty community a reputable place. And for you to disrespect me for that and call me that woman, that was wrong. I'm sorry. That was utterly wrong. I know you said an apology later, but this is what really bothered me, was the apology came after I responded back showing that I was really upset from that. So this is what happened. So these are some of the messages that happened on Twitter behind the scenes. Marlena, this is from James. I'm so incredibly hurt and offended by this. I also love when you ask me to message you privately, and I do, but you continue tweeting for publicity. I was not tweeting for publicity. I was tweeting to defend myself because you publicly not only bashed me and called me that woman, but you did it tagging the company that I was with that day. That crossed a line. So it goes on. You said you wanted to film a video with me, and I said, sorry. Oh, so I said I didn't see this DM yesterday, and I wasn't tweeting for publicity, James. They were responses to your bashing me. To be honest, you owe me a massive apology before I sit down with you. I never once said anything but kind things about you before you were even well known. So I met James when he was 16 years old. He came to my lip event years ago. I had no idea truly who he was. I had seen his face. I think at that time he might have been on Ellen's show. I don't remember, but I didn't know much about him. I just saw him as this kind of like sweet, kind of, slightly nerdy kid that came up, but I knew he was like, he had his makeup on, it was beautiful and everything. And I remember this. I gave him a hug, even though he wasn't really well known at this point. I was like, I hope that you do well in this business. Congratulations on everything. I hope you succeed. That was it. And then after that, he and I just didn't really speak, but I was kind to him. He asked me to film with him to speak my side, especially after the truth video came out. And I agreed. Even though I was still upset, I was like, okay, let's try to save face. Let's try to bind together. Let's put this away. And I said, I was trying to plan a time to go to LA. I'm not living in LA anymore. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to book this ticket, like, this needs to be serious because I'm taking time. I've got 2 companies I'm running. I'm busy. I can't just be booking flights to get down to LA. So this better be sure. But I was smart and I didn't book my ticket because I had a gut feeling. I was like, he's going to back out. So as soon as the publicity from all of that died down, sure enough, he canceled on me. And I was pissed at that because I had taken my time, not only 1, to agree to sit down with someone that just bashed me publicly, but 2, who I had specifically said, don't waste my time. If I'm going to take that effort, book a flight, fly down to LA, take time away from me running my companies to do this, it's got to be done. So anyways, that was the upsetting with that. Okay, now to show you, I'm not doing this to pat myself on the back, but I need you guys to understand this is the type of person I am. After all of that, even though now I'm still upset, I don't let those human emotions cross over to hatred or vengeance. James, after that, had said he had come out with someone had found his address and were showing up, and I saw that online and I started freaking out. I'm concerned. Even though I'm pissed that things with James and I had not gone well, I was still concerned enough to reach out to him and say, I said, hi, love, just saw your tweet about your home. Not sure if you bought under your name, but go to a court and ask them to take it off the records, or you can redo the deed to put in a trust. I was giving advice for what to do, and I said, please stay safe. So I reached out to him after all of this stuff. When he told me he was in danger, I was generally concerned about his safety. He's young. I had been there myself. I've had people show up my house. It is scary. It's a legit issue. So I'm concerned. So I still took the time to privately message him and say, I'm concerned. These are some things that you should do to keep yourself safe. I hope you're okay. So all of that, I just had to get it off my chest because I felt like since that truth video came out, and I know it rubs some people the wrong way, it's been disappointing for me to have to deal with all of this stuff. Even though I've shown when many influencers were really small, I was kind to them. We sent many people product. We set them up with affiliate programs so they could try to take money. This was the other thing that upset me too, was Nicole Concilio. I didn't even realize this until I was going through Makeup Geek DMs and stuff. So Nicole, August 19th, 2017, before all of this stuff happened, Nicole had said something. I don't even remember what it was. I think she was treated badly by a company or something. And I texted her. I was like, I hope this isn't us. Let me know if we've done anything. I know my team is amazing. Like, they are kick butt at everything, but sometimes things fall through the crack. We may have hurt some influencers along the way. If that happened, let me know. I want to make sure to take care of it. And I said, is there anything you need? Anything I could send you? No way at all. You guys have always been so sweet. And I said, I was scared for a minute, thinking that we had done something that she was unhappy about. And so I said, if you ever need anything at all, please text me. I have studio space in LA if you need to set up meetup for your fans. Whatever you need, just let me know. And I gave her my personal cell phone number. How many CEOs of companies do you guys know that give their personal cell phone number to people? And I've said this again, I didn't give it to be like, hey, use my product. I gave it as, if you need something, I'm serious, let me know. So I did. And oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. I love you guys. All of that. So that was the last contact that I had with Nicole. Now follow to what it is right now. This is what was so disappointing for me was, so after James had posted in public, he humiliated seeing that woman. I had no contact with Nicole after that. I laid it out there. Here's my cell. Let me know if you need anything. And I backed away. I'm not pushy. I'm not saying use my stuff. Stay connected with my team. Let us know. Doors open for communication. So then Nicole piggybacks off of James' things in support of him. I completely agree with James, tags Netflix. This is not the way to go about this. I don't see good intentions from this woman, more disrespect whatsoever. After all, she has a brand she's trying to promote as well. Shaking my head, what is this right now? I am like... From a personal level, like, try to think, like I'm trying to keep calm, you guys. It's been disappointing on a personal level. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Hold on. I will admit that I am not a perfect person. I've not made 100% decisions along the way, but it's been gut-wrenching for me to be part of a community and to really genuinely try to help people starting out. I know inside what my motives are. I don't expect everyone to believe me. I can't control what everyone thinks, but it's been very gut-wrenching for me to be part of a community that I feel like over the years I have contributed things to, and I've done what I can to just try to do some good things and be very involved in this community, to have it be because I came out with a truth video that I never once attacked people. And really quick, I want to explain that too. I know this is a lot, you guys, hang in there. The reason why in the truth video I spoke, because it was eating me alive, I had to speak my mind on it. Not everyone's going to agree, but that is my personal opinion on stuff. I could have called out specific names of people whose contracts I have seen where they have asked for amounts to bash other companies. I have seen them. I could have called out those people's names, but here's why I didn't. I know that cancel culture is very real right now, and the people who these contracts I've seen, I actually really care about, and I know they're not bad people. I just know that some of the decisions that they're making aren't good, and that's why I spoke up on it. I wanted it to be a wake-up call. Again, let's get this ship in a different direction. And so that's why I didn't say the names, because I didn't want all of you guys watching to be like, oh, it's so-and-so, and you grab your pitchforks and your torches and go head to their house. That's not going to solve anything. And it's not just one person. This has happened with several people. So I don't want to be like, and so-and-so did this and so did that. I just wanted to give a general like, hey guys, this is going on. I don't agree with it. Let's make some changes. But I don't want to attack on one person. I don't want anyone to get their houses torched and you guys to start heading towards them, because that's not okay either. That cancel culture is real. So that's why I didn't say those names. But in meantime, I have gotten so much heat and so much crap from everyone being like, well, you're just doing this to stir up drama, because if you really wanted to solve it, you would tell us who it is. I have my reasons for not, and I'm standing behind it. I know in my heart I wasn't doing it to try to stir up drama, but I'm not going to say names specifically because I don't want that person to be crucified for something that I feel like, let's just get a wake-up call. Hopefully things will change. And honestly, they have changed since then. I've seen these people being more honest with their sponsorships and stuff, which here's another thing I want to get off my mind. If you guys want influencers to be responsible, influencers are not to blame for this community. It's a part of it. There's some things that need to change, but we as an audience and also companies are responsible too. I've said this in my original video. If you want influencers to be honest and to disclose sponsorships, the reason I know why they haven't is because they also get crucified and get yelled at for, well, now you're just money hungry and you're just doing the sponsorships. They have to make money somehow. They do. I'm not against sponsorships. I'm against not disclosing them or having egos and entitlement attached to them. That's what I have the problem with. And so I feel like as an audience, influencers are being honest and saying sponsorships, don't give them grief for that. They're now being honest with you. And like if they have coupon codes, I've seen some the general public being like, well, don't use their coupon code because whatever. You guys, they're giving you free content. It costs them money and time and effort. And it's a lot of work to run a social media platform. If they're giving you that content for free, you can show support to them by using their code. If they come out with a product that you feel like they truly believe in and they do really love, and you can sense their authenticity, buy it, because they're giving you content for free. So I know I'm playing like devil's advocate and giving both sides. And then companies as well. My whole thing is companies need to not pressure influencers and be like, well, if you talk bad about my product, we're not going to use you anymore. It shouldn't be that either. So there's many people that have things that have to change in order for the ship to turn around. So another one that I want to address is Temptalia, Christine. This is a more recent one. So to give you a background on that, Christine and I have known each other for many years. We aren't super close. We haven't been connected, but we have connected via email and some messaging for years. She actually started, I think, before I did. So she's been very well known as a reputable blogger. She does great pictures of her posts. She's very detail oriented in her posts. This last week, after I was very vocal with Lipstick Gate, pretty much showing my concerns of like, why is this not being addressed by the company? Why is this, like, I'm really concerned with the safety of these, just from my experience in product development, my experience behind the scenes, and my own experience with something that was exactly similar with the same signs that I'm seeing with my concealer. So anyways, I messaged Christine. She had basically put up a post the next day, and it had in her post, I don't have a problem with her post. She had many brands listed as like, these are some signs in lipsticks that may be concerning, but they are normal. Like some of the fibers, like air holes in there. It is common to have some of those things in lipsticks. It is, sure. And it was good that she had pointed all of that out. My issue with Christine was not in her article itself. I was concerned in the timing of downplaying what I and so many other industry professionals, chemists, manufacturers, product developers, other CEOs, I'm hearing behind the scenes from them contacting me saying, what is going on with this? Like, this is making all of the industry look bad right now. It's an uproar. Like, what is going on? We all had concerns about these lipsticks. And so I had told Christine that. I was like, I don't want you to downplay it by saying that this is safe, because if these genuinely are, we can't know for sure, but there's a strong feeling that there could be something wrong with these that are not safe. And so I messaged Christine telling her that my issue with Christine was the tweet itself, calling Makeup Geek out in bold letters, knowing that I've been so vocal about the lipsticks to begin with. If it had been on the tweet just saying, here are several brands on my post to say this is what's normal and this what isn't, check out my link, I would have not had any issues at all, even though Makeup Geek was one of the lipsticks that she felt didn't look good in the quality of what she had gotten. So I told her that, and we ended up talking on the phone. And when I had talked to her, I was giving my point of, look, Christine, I really am genuinely concerned about these. And what bothered me from that phone call was when I had told her my concern, she had said, and I quote, and I have heard from the other side, these lipsticks are not made at that questionable lab. I'm like, okay, well, who is talking to you behind the scenes? And it doesn't matter what lab made them or not. The fact is there's genuine concern from many people who have actually made makeup that these could possibly not be safe. That's the problem. It's not the lab or whatever. So that didn't sit well with me. And then I made the statement, but I do owe Christine an apology for how strong that statement was. So I made a statement saying that I don't agree with the timing, and I didn't agree with her calling out Makeup Geek in a tweet, knowing, and I told her this too, that not everyone's going to go to the post. They're just going to see a tweet in bold letters with Makeup Geek and the lipstick and this is the worst I've seen. They're just going to take that and run with it and not look at the blog to see that there were other lipsticks on there. So that's what I had an issue with. However, my statement that I made to her was one that me and my legal team had agreed to make. It was strong, and I do feel at this point it was too strong. So I do owe Christine an apology for that. It was strong that I should have said, and I'm allowed to say, I'm not allowed, but I'm saying right now that that was an F up on my part. I should have reeled it in a little bit. But my concern with calling out Makeup Geek and the image that it implied, it was not what I was okay with. So I know, like, Christine and I, hopefully we can set this aside. I don't want you guys all on Twitter. I see you guys are still attacking and saying, going against Christine, and some are going against me. Just lay it to rest at this point. I don't mean Christine any ill will at all. She has been a very reputable thing. She's given good reviews for Makeup Geek and some bad ones, and I've never been upset about that because I know that she's been fair. And the fact that I didn't know this until last year, that she spends so much of her hard money on paying for the makeup itself, that tells me that she's in this for the passion, is because she's investing her own funds and talking about all sorts of makeup, and she is extremely detailed and all of that. So I just want to lay that to rest, but I just had to get my point on that matter out as well on my side. Now there's just a few more things that I want to address. I told you guys was long. I'm sorry. I'll try to include underneath timestamps for you to see whatever part you want to see. I didn't want to do several videos. I just want to get it all at once because I just need to get this out, get off my chest so I personally can heal, move on, do the next stages of things I want to do. So Tina Fancy Face had done a video after I did the truth video. It was a whole very long video. She had some very valid points in it. I know that Tina is very blunt, very honest. I appreciate that. Some things that I didn't agree with that was the whole perception of the video that she was making me out to be a social climber, saying that because Tina was part of our site before we launched Makeup Geek. And I have tons of emails showing like our interaction was very friendly. We had a great relationship and such. And so I can imagine from her side there's hurt because over time we lost contact with each other and there was no like malice. I wasn't like, well, I'm done with Tina, I'm going to toss her aside for someone else. That wasn't it. We had worked together for many years. She had posted looks on the Makeup Geek site before Makeup Geek was a brand. It was when we were just a blog. We had a forum, and I asked, she had posted stuff on our site. Back then, the site was a medium for all companies. So I had talked about MAC and Makeup Forever and Urban Decay and NARS. I talked about all these brands, and it was a cool place for everyone else to show their looks. It was kind of like before Instagram. Was Instagram even around? If it was a baby company. It was kind of like the Instagram at that time where everyone could put their makeup looks. So you can get inspired by it, see what products they're using, and all of that stuff. So that's how it started. And then we had to cut the forum, and we also had to cut the, because basically I had it set up where her and a few other people were doing reviews of other brands' products. So this is where I'm going to point out, like, if I'm a social climber, why was I working with her and others on other brand stuff? I didn't have my line at this time. It was other brands. And so part of the payment was that I would buy a bunch of cool makeup products, other people's brands, and send it to them if they wanted to review it or do looks with it on our site. Great. It's just a community building thing. And that's what it was. We had to stop doing that over time because it didn't make sense once Makeup Geek launched as a brand for me to be spending money on product and doing my team's work for making sure that the site has all of this stuff. So anytime you run a site, you still need a team to like keep up with the servers and make sure that the content is organized. Like, it still takes a lot of work to do all of that. It wasn't financially making sense anymore. We were losing money on it because all of the time I had to pay my team to keep up on it using products, and then in the end we're promoting other brand stuff on my channel. It was a hard switch to make, where Makeup Geek was just a blog, hangout place, a forum, to now becoming a brand. And anytime you have a transition like that, it's not always pleasant and fun. But there was never any sort of ill will with Tina. Her points were brought up that she gave me feedback on the foiled eyeshadows, which we did send her. I have this email here. We sent her the foiled shadows, and at the same time, we set her up with affiliate programs. So I felt from her video, I was a little bothered that she was making it out that like, we weren't taking care of her. We set her up with affiliate program just like we did everyone else. She was not kicked aside for working with these other influencers. I was already working with people like Nikki Tutorials before her. I had met Nikki in 2008. I started working with Tina in 2010, and I started helping some influencers before I had a brand. So if I'm a social climber, why was I helping influencers when I don't have anything to gain from it? I don't have a brand to push or promote. I had nothing. Makeup Geek came years later. So I don't want to get into all of it because I don't want to be like going back and forth, and I know she's going to respond. There was a time that before she posted her video that I felt like she was making some posts like saying, let me see if I could pull it up. I'll put it up on the screen, but basically it was like, oh, well, Makeup Geek isn't doing great because you're not, doing brand trips and stuff like that. And it was kind of a little snarky, and I was like, okay, it is what it is. So I let that slide, but I noticed it. I'm like, okay, is there something going on with Tina? I could sense that there was something like bothering her about Makeup Geek or about us, but I just laid low. I'm like I was going through a lot of stuff trying to get the company going. It is what it is. And then she had posted something which is deleted now. I tried to find it. It's not there. She deleted it, but it was something saying like Marlena copied me on these car chats. So basically it was this little tiff of I had done Snapchats and I called them car chats with Marlena. I had no idea that Tina was doing them on her YouTube. For me, I was just doing it on Snapchat because I was always in the car traveling. I'm doing stuff, and it was my chance for me to just talk with you guys. So it was kind of a joke of car chats. Let me just get in the car, tell you guys what's going on in my life, do a life update, blah, blah, blah. And she had felt that I was copying her with that title, and I had no idea she'd done them. I wasn't watching her videos lately, not because I didn't care for her or anything, as I'm busy. I truly have not had time in the last several years to watch a bunch of videos like I was able to before. It's just I'm busy. And so she had said something like that, and then I guess some of her audience were coming over, and then were replying to me on Twitter, why did you steal it from Tina, the Card Chats? And I was like, what is this about? So I go over and I check her tweet. So then that's when I reached out to her, because I was already sensing before this that there was some issues going on that I felt. And so I had personally reached out to her and said, so this is what it is from February 19th, 2017. This is like a year and a half prior. I reached out to her personally. I said, would you like to tell me what I or my company have done to you so I can apologize and we can move on? You've had beef with me for a while. This is how I felt, and I've continued to be kind. Just let me know, because if I've hurt you, I would like to amend that. And she said, hi, Marlena, let me know what beef you mean. Tell me when I've attacked you or your company. Even if your products I don't like, I speak about fairly. I never had issues with Tina talking fairly about Makeup Geek. I know she's not been happy with the foiled shadows and a couple other things. It wasn't about that. It was about like trying to make it out that I'm stealing stuff from her. And I just felt underlying, because I would see little like things talking about Makeup Geek on there that weren't product related. And I was like, okay, obviously I feel there's something going on, so let me reach out and say. And I was upset at this time, and I was like, look, what is the beef? We're adult women. Let's figure out what this problem is. Let's talk it out, move on. I don't mean any ill will to her. So she said, the Card Chat thing is what probably the only thing I'm annoyed by, but since you don't watch it, maybe just my feelings. And I said, well, I'm sorry for hurting you. I knew you vlogged, but I haven't seen your card checks. I can change the title if you like. How have you been, by the way? And then it went on, and we talked about some other stuff. It ended on, no worries, stay strong. Wish I could speak more on it. Anyways, I won't go into all the stuff after that, but it ended really positively. So I was like, okay, cool, everything's fine. So when a video came out after the truth one, depicting this story that I was social climbing, that I kicked them aside for new people when we've continued to work with her. And then her statement in her video at the 21-minute mark, saying that I made sure to get my product into hands of popular people. When I had met these influencers, they were small. I can't say that they're going to be big. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I saw them as something that I believed in them. And I felt like they had some potential. I wanted to encourage them. And I know what it's like starting out as an influencer. And that's all. There was no like, I'm trying to push product in their hands. They were small at that time. They weren't big. And then she was upset about not getting credit for the foiled eyeshadow. So what happened with that? I did reach out to Tina because I saw her posting she didn't like the foiled shadows. I'm like, okay, fair enough. I reached out. I said, could you give me for feedback? Because I personally wanted to know, because I've done testing on my own with my own team, and for it to not work out with someone, and because we had already had a relationship with her doing stuff on the site before, I was like, I trust her to give me some honest feedback. So she did. And so I went back to the lab and said, hey, I've got a few people saying, that they're oily, which they are. I will say that to this day. I still love the foiled shadows, but they're not going to be for everyone. If you have oily lids, they are going to crease on you if you don't put some sort of primer down. That's general knowledge. I know that. I know Tina told me that, but I already knew, like, okay, we need to just tell people, put a primer down or put a layer of powder underneath, because the foiled shadows have so much oil and binder in them. That's what makes them so shiny and metallic, is because they're basically a wet type formula. And I went back to the lab. I said, is there anything you guys can do? Let's try to fix that. They're like, we can. If we take down the oil and stuff, they're going to crumble and fall apart. And then the price point thing, the price point is higher than our mattes, because the pearls, that's what they're kind of called, is I'm sure there's a more technical term, but when the chemists talk to me, they're like, the pearls cost a lot more than a matte shadow. So if I'm making a matte brown shadow and I'm making a super high metallic, really shimmery shadow, this is going to cost more because the ingredients are higher. We ourselves pay double the price to make the foiled eyeshadows versus the matte ones. That's just logistically and statistically, that is what it is. So I have to charge a bit more for those. So anyways, I wanted to talk about that. I was bothered by that video and I had to talk about it because I remained silent. I didn't do a response video right away because I was like, look, I'm not going to try to be defensive. I don't mean any ill will towards Tina, but don't paint me out as a social climber when I've proven before I owned a company, before I had Makeup Geek as products, I was already helping influencers and trying to give them input and help them out and be a positive thing. So I didn't appreciate that part. And then the last one, I had someone else right after her who, I'm not going to say the name, but did a title, and the title was Makeup Geek did me dirty. And I remember this one as well. So what happened with that was years ago, we had our kit. I don't have it with me now. It was the Flawlessly Ever After palettes. And we wanted influencers. I remember this conversation. I had my creative team in Sacramento, and this is exactly what I said. Hey, instead of us doing swatches on arms like we do all the time, let's have it on someone's face. I just need a picture for a swatch. I could have brought models in very easily, knocked this out in a day, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted to give a shout out and to feature some smaller influencers. So that's what I did. I said to my team, hey, can you find 4 influencers that have a smaller following that would like to have a shout out, have us feature them, but also pay them for their time to do that? So they did, they ran with it. That was the last I heard of it. We got the pictures, we put them up to show a swatch of what it looked like on different skin tones. So fast forward to now, this person was saying Makeup Geek did me dirty and painted it out that we took advantage of her and we only paid her $100, which I know it's not a ton. We weren't paying her for her exposure on her audience. It was just for one picture for us to show basically a swatch. Like, this is what it looks like on skin versus on an arm. She sent us a letter from a lawyer saying, take the picture down off your site. And this picture's been up for 2 years now. We got this letter after my truth video, and I was like, it was sitting bad with me. And I'm like, okay, why now? It's been out for a couple years, but we took it down right away. Then her lawyer responds saying, well, since you took it down, that means you're admitting fault that you were using the picture improperly and she didn't want it used that way. And we're like, she asked us to take it down, so we did. And I'm a public person. I have Twitter, I have Instagram, I have YouTube. You could have private messaged me and say, hey, Marlena, I felt like either I wasn't paid enough or I didn't want this picture. I would have been like, so sorry. We could have dealt with this behind the scenes, but I did not get that. Then what bothered me after that video came out about how Makeup Geek did me dirty right after I posted the truth video, then I get an attempt of a lawsuit of saying that we now owed $20,000 per year for 3 years, which would have equaled the exact amount of $60,000. I've heard that number before. That's when I was like, okay, this is not like I'm upset about something. Those numbers correlate exactly to the truth video, and you used that opportunity of that video going viral to make an issue of something that could have very easily been settled behind the scenes. I could have responded to that video, but again, I didn't want to draw attention to it or whatever. So for the last year, I have personally been told by many people, you take advantage of this poor person or whatever. And I'm like, that's one side of the story. I never got to say my side of the story because I'm like, let me just let it be. But that really still did bother me. I could have gone after that person for defamation, for it being inaccurate info, for trying to paint Makeup Geek in a poor light. But I didn't, because I'm not too happy. And because I know that this person probably is not sitting on piles of money to even go into a legal thing. So I'm like, I wasn't trying to go after her. But since then, there has been multiple times where she's tried to contact my company to stir up drama and issues, and enough is enough. That stops today. I'm saying it right now. I should have done a video defending myself back then, but I didn't. But I am now, because I am tired of people coming after me saying that I took advantage of this person when that is not what happened at all. Okay, the last thing I want to address, what happened with Makeup Geek. Okay, so I have product to show you guys. So you guys explain what's gone on in the last couple of years. I have rebrand coming out later this year. The packaging on that is not going to be this like innovation. It's going to be core products that we need to replace that are in a unique format. And it's a module set. I don't know how to explain it without giving it away, but it's a core group of products and that come out later this year. And then next year is where I already have planned out some really cool, innovative stuff, some fun packaging. I just need you guys to hang out there. But in the meantime, I have to explain to you what happened. So between 2016 and 2018, where there wasn't a lot of launches for us and the things we did weren't exciting, here's why. So I had concealers. I had not only these, but another type of concealers, because I knew concealers, this is before they got really big. I was trying to be ahead of stuff and be like, look, let me come up with some concealers. So we got these. The production was crap. And so I could have been shady, because my team, fortunately, is amazing and they saved my butt. I will always back up my team because they are always looking out for the company and they work really hard for me. They were the ones that caught because we do our own quality control, caught that these were not good. I could have gone out. We had about 60% of them were crappy. The other 40% could have passed. I could have, to try to save money, taken the 40% and still put them for sale. But because there were so many with defects and contamination, I didn't feel comfortable at all, because it could have been we didn't see anything from the top, but if people start using it more and more, then there's issues, and that's a bad reputation for my brand. So I scratched the whole thing, lost our shirt on it until later on we were able to get insurance money. At the same time, from the same lab, I had foundations coming out, and then the palette, the Flawlessly Ever After palette, there was supposed to be a cream version of that as well. And I know that the palette itself, hold on, it's not this exact one, but it looks like this. So what I wanted for Makeup Geek brand was something that was still good quality, that was still sleek. I know it's not like fancy, crazy packaging. I wanted something sleek, sophisticated, and all that. So it looked like this, and we were gonna have two. The powder one, which we have sold, and there was going to be a cream one. And I was going to have this really cool fairy tale like storybook that would open up and you could buy them together and have the two together. But because we had so many issues with this, they were the same lab that was doing the cream version of this. So I had to scratch that as well, because I just didn't feel comfortable with how bad this went down. I'm like, I can't do it. So we only did the powder version, and my goal was not to have... Okay, so these palettes, I had a complete face palette that were from porcelain skin to deep skin. My thought was, at that time, I wanted to be all-inclusive, because we've all seen many brands come out with face palettes that have like a blush, a bronzer, highlighter, but it's only one palette and it's always aimed at the fair skin. I'm like, let's fix that. So I came out with these palettes. The whole goal was to have one for every skin tone, so everyone felt that they were included, could have an all-in-one palette that fit their skin tone. That's it. My purpose was inclusivity of having an all-in-one face palette. That's all. So that happened. And then I also had foundations from the same lab that were supposed to come out the next year in 2017. Scratched that as well because I didn't trust that lab. And I was already done with the formula. I worked on shade matching. I was literally at that lab, I don't even know how many visits, for like a solid year, color matching testing, having people come in to test. It was a massive, massive amount of work. It's a lot to do foundations. I had to scratch that too. And I'm now starting at square one. So not only did I miss those launches, but what happens is, because production takes so long, it takes 9 months to a year, you have to keep sales. Like if I'm going to sell, like come out with lipsticks next, or bad example, let's try something else. I'm going to come out with a palette. Me selling this, I'm already starting production on this because it takes almost a year. I'm counting on the money from this coming in to pay for the final PO, the final 50% to pay for this that comes out. When that sells, I come out with the next product. You have to invest the money back in there, and that's what happened. So because the cream thing didn't launch, the concealer didn't launch, the foundation launched, okay, now I'm taking a huge hit for the company. Now I'm losing a lot of money because I don't have anything new to show you guys. So we're trying to like, okay, what can we do? The other thing that happened that year, and I'll show you, I have all of these are cream color sticks that I had planned. It was a really cool marketing thing. It was going to be all music based because I have a music background. It was called Baseline Cream Colors. Hold on, let me show you one. Mug Baseline Cream Colors. I had 20 colors, and these were really cool, like colorful eye crayons that you could use as a base. I still plan on doing something like this down the road. So I had these 3 months before launch. The manufacturer that was making these said that their machine broke and they couldn't finish the production for them. trying to think of how to say this, because I don't mean to bash this place, because they were actually they treated me really, really good. So this lab makes product for another really, really big company. And then right when these were supposed to launch, a very public figure also launched their brand. So in my mind, I was like, well, if your machine broke, if you have this income you're coming, I know, from this big brand, wouldn't you fix it or whatever? And for me, maybe it's a personal thing, but I was kind of upset thinking that, like, because a big public figure came along, that we got dropped because they needed the time to do something for someone that was really huge. And I did hear that from other companies, that they aren't working with this lab anymore. They had to go to other labs. They heard the same thing. I don't know if that's true or not, if it's just my personal feelings, but that's what happened. And so with only 3 months before launch, I'm stuck now. I got to start from scratch. I got to find somewhere else to do them or make it. So this just dropped, all these 20 colors, and I worked over a year on these, and so I wasn't able to make it happen. So it was like one after another after another after another of launches that were all back to back that I had planned out for a couple years that wasn't able to happen. So what we did is we then did In the Nude palette that were in these, because I already had these from the collaboration that didn't go through. And that's why you guys have seen this palette so much, is because we're trying to take lemons and make lemonade. And so that's why things have been boring, we haven't launched a ton of stuff. I'm trying, you guys. It's not like I'm sitting on my behind, like eating bonbons and like sitting on a vacation. I'm actually working really hard, but there's been, between all of this stuff falling through, between my personal stuff, my divorce, my miscarriage, my restraining order, getting out of a toxic relationship, moving, my health, like I could write a book on just my personal life, things that went on. Not trying to play victim. I just need you guys to see the full picture. Between all of that, it was devastating 2 years. So when I get so heated and so passionate about, sorry, I'm losing my voice, the direction of this beauty community, because there's so much potential there and there's so many good things we can do. And when I see it's going in different direction, I'm vocal. I do insert myself into drama because I care, because I want to use this platform for something bigger. But to be honest, at this point, you guys, I have to just step away. And that's why this video, I have so much to say, because I just want it to be all said, get it off my chest, and move on to what I need to do. And that's run my companies, focus on my health, and get myself in a complete better place. Before all this drama happened, before Lipstick Gate, before Dramageddon 2 and all that BS, I had already started connecting with domestic abuse shelters. The one I'm working with is in Houston. It's hawc.org. I plan on working one here locally in Seattle. And I plan on using my companies to try to at least bring in some funds the way I can to support them. So that's my goal. My other goal is moving forward. Reason why I want to step back from me being on this platform, because I want to start other businesses, not just Makeup Geek, not just Marstay. I already have planned out. Hopefully my husband doesn't mind me sharing this, but we plan on, he's a saint. Like the person I'm with now, he is, I don't know how to say it. It sounds kind of creepy, but it's like he's Mother Teresa in a handsome man's body. I don't know how to say it. Like his heart is pure gold. Like I finally found the good one, you guys. And he and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, that we're starting a jewelry company because he wants the funds to go to orphanages in his home country, because that's where his passion is for kids that don't have homes. For me, I'm focusing on domestic abuse. So that's what we're doing. I even have designs done. I know my paper's I won't show you a ton of designs, but I literally I created this design. Like I photoshopped it, I created it, I did the design work and all of that, and it's gonna be called Adelina. So Adelina is the name of our child. I had a miscarriage, and both he and I felt that we're gonna have a girl. We didn't get to the point. I was at 11 weeks when I had my miscarriage. We could have tested to see, but I had already gone through the miscarriage. I was always traumatized by it. In our hearts, we felt like it was gonna be a girl, and we were gonna name her Adelina. So the jewelry line is in honor of her, but so that's what I'm doing moving forward, is having other businesses. Why, I'm sorry, I'm crying. I did pretty good, guys. I didn't cry too much. My goal, I literally have planned out business plans, designs, sketches, drawings, like all of that for like jewelry line, skincare line, another fashion line, like so many things. So if any investors or any executives out there, you want to help me start a company that will do some great things and a portion of those sales go to some really good causes, I'm your girl. Like that's my goal and I'm going to make it happen. Like if I'm still working on it when I'm 80 years old, then so be it. But that's my personal goal and that's what I have to focus on moving forward. So I just feel like now is a good time for me to step away personally from this platform other than Beauty and the Boss. That will come next week. I want you guys to watch it. I want to also say if any other companies out there, large or small, hair, makeup, fashion, if you want to have your brand featured, you want to sponsor it with me. I don't want it to be just using Makeup Geek and just Marstay because I want it to be a community video of something really positive, telling amazing stories of people. The one that airs next week, she's so inspirational. She went from being abused and homeless to graduating with honors and being a chef at a major winery in Washington. Like that's what I want to focus on is positive stuff, telling stories of some really like inspirational people, but still including like tips and teaching makeup, but having it be a fun way. So that's what I want to focus on. So if I can keep that going, if anyone out there wants to help partner with me on that, because they are more expensive to produce because they're very well done, that will be the one thing that stays on my channel. So stay subscribed. And I will come back on, not as an influencer, but as Marlena, the CEO of Marstay, the CEO of Makeup Geek, to announce collections that are coming up on this channel. So stay tuned on that. But as far as the other videos that I wanted to do, like current obsessions and life updates and all that stuff, I just honestly have to back away because I don't mean this in a bad way, you guys, but just the environment as a whole for me, just for me personally, is a toxic place for me, and I just have to back away because I can tell that I'm getting too emotionally invested, and I don't want to be part of drama. I want to speak my mind and just be done with it, move on, and just hope for the best, that things will change for the better. I'm staying positive and optimistic, and that's all I can do at this point. So thank you guys for all of your support. I truly mean it. Influencers, audience members, anyone who's ever bought anything from either of my two companies, I really owe you guys gratitude. Like, thank you. I would not be here if it wasn't for you guys. And I'm so sorry that my truth video made a bunch of people like head your way and try to come at you for that. That wasn't what I intended for that. I've always been grateful to influencers because I have been one first, CEO second, so I get it. And I want you guys to know that I am grateful for that. And yeah, that's all I have to say for now. I would say see you later, but I'm just going to say a big thank you to you guys, and I hope you're doing great. And that's it for now.